So for me, the issues lie at the commissioning level,
Yeah,
and then also at elected cabinet level, elected leaders, because
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
they're taking what is said to them as read.
Yes, and we've seen a prime example of that, of what's happening with one of our local schools. And I think it's important, and I'm just going to kind of reflect on this because I'm sure we'll have parents at the moment screaming at the screen about kind of the comments made about SENDIAS. But I want to highlight this because that is a decision at strategic level. You have a team that's doing very, very well and probably one of the best in the country for doing what they do, and it's massively under-resourced and understaffed. So you know what I mean? You've got calls going in and out of SENDIAS where they could be doing with more and more input and more resources, more and more staff to be able to work directly on the coal face with the parents. Um, but yeah, we're not seeing hardly any recruitment. We're seeing send improvement officers being advertised, seem to be
And
now weekly. Yeah, 48,000, whatever it is, whatever they're going at 24 to 48 grand a year. But you're not seeing the actual key workers. You've got a team that's doing well and can have a lot of input, gather a lot of data, which can then move forward to co-production. But the decision at the top level, the strategic level, is yeah, let's kind of ignore that part down here, which seems to be working, and we'll kind of take our time on looking at what we're going to come on to a minute, like task and finish groups for the autism strategy.
well, the good example you raised a good point with Sendias, I mean, Sendias is probably one of my specialist subjects, just because I think it's a wonderful service in terms of how it was created. I think it's something that should be embraced. Something that's really interesting for me is that when you look at Sendias in our local area, there's something really strange happened, and I've got a real issue with this, and that is during the Send local area inspection in 2021, in September 2021. If you look at that inspection result, it actually at the first paragraph, in the first paragraph, so the most important thing, feedback, is SENDIAS. But what
Right.
annoyed me so much is everybody knows it via it's an acronym, SENDIASS. But what it stands for, Send Information Advice and Support Service, right?
Yeah.
It was written out. So they writ it all out, the acronym, and it was almost as if I can't, I'm speculating, almost as if they didn't want us to see that it was Sendias. They wanted it almost to be that it fell under, we had to say it because it had received that much positive feedback
Yeah.
from families and from services. Let's not forget this. Your youth offending team, your health services, speech and language services, your schools. Our Sendias, when I sat on SMG, when I was a volunteer there, our Sendias has never ever been refused access to any local school. Never.
Right.
Never
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
the point where Sendias has been asked in its all entirety. What does that tell you about the quality
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
not the manager, but of the people that she employs to work alongside her?
Mm.
And what annoys me is, and get this for a statistic, not only in that time, in these 4 years that's passed between one inspection and the forthcoming one, it was suggested that there would be reviews done, service reviews. The only service that was reviewed and publicly reviewed was Sendias. They've
Right.
not, and when I say review, recommendations, the reviews there, they didn't release the full review and they released a shortened review. And the sad thing were they went after him. Somebody went after that Sendias, right? And it were there's been in that 4 years, James, they've not reviewed anybody else. They've not reviewed inclusion services. They've not reviewed speech and language therapy services, to my knowledge. They've not reviewed EHCP. They've not reviewed anybody else. So the one shining star got ended up getting treated badly, but
And
still
potentially silenced slightly.
silent. But the
Yeah.
problem that I have is this is all it can be regarded as, while ever there's no good commissioning, while ever there's no innovative commissioning, which would require parental involvement, Sendias is designed to be a reactive service. It reacts to
Yes.
the
Yes. 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 Yes.
behaviors
Yeah.
of other services. But with the skill set that these people have, the workers, and particularly the
Mm.
manager, why can't an arm of SENDIASS be a proactive service?